So we are officially recording so people can go back and take in the goodness and see all that we talked about on this first mastermind call of 2019. I am so grateful to be here with you guys. And just to kind of give you like a state of the state for what's going on with me, because I think that's also really important for you to kind of hone in on and also like bear witness to, like, so you don't feel so alone and so that you can really like rise up and feel safe to ask your questions and to do all the things. I just want to share with you kind of like what's been happening. So all of you are in my new program, the 90-day program Dream Quest. All of you were in Thrive. And so what I want, like my goal for you all with all of those things is to learn from them, but also learn how I'm doing them and take the bits and pieces that you feel may really resonate with what your soul is calling you to do and what your future offerings may look like. You don't have to do them exactly the same way, but I think that there's a little bit of magic when you look at what's being gifted and presented to you and say, how does this, like, how can I make this feel super, super good for me? And what would my people really connect to based on this model? And I will share with you. So Dream Quest was an idea that was born in October for me. And it was based off of looking at the audience at True You Live and recognizing where they are and seeing their fear and seeing where I was talking like 3 steps further along the path than they needed me to. And that was really powerful because they got it, but they couldn't see themselves there. They couldn't feel into it. They couldn't be present with some of the things. Now, some of the things we went way back to the beginning to really help invite them into, but I really got a good feel for where they are. And the only way that I got that feeling, you guys, was to like go out and actually do the thing and then be present with the feeling that was in the room. Now, for you guys, you don't have to have a live event to be able to do this, but I want you to, as you're posting, as you're creating your content, as you are hosting free groups or whatever it is, or maybe it's paid group, I want you to just witness what seems to be landing and really resonating with your people and where there is room for growth for them. And the way that you're going to be able to tell that is if what you're presenting all of a sudden feels really high level to what they're able to receive. It's second nature for you because you're further along down the path. But it is like so far up and above what they are capable of comprehending right now. And that's where you get to learn a deeper sense of grace, a deeper sense of gratitude and patience, and you get to really create what feels good to them now by remembering what felt good to you at that stage of your journey. So Dream Quest was created in October. The idea of it, the high level idea. Thrive was created in December when I went to California. I really wanted to give a high level, high touch free experience so that people could feel this newfound energy, not newfound energy, but newfound acceptance and amplification of my natural energy and of my natural self. I had to fully embrace my gifts and my superpowers, what I freaking wanted to do, and transmute that to them in a way that was palatable for them. So what I mean by that is I witnessed where I've been dulling myself, where I have been maybe not feeling ready with some of the, a lot of the intuitive stuff, with a lot of the more deeply feeling stuff and less logical stuff. That's an easy pre-programmed place for me to go. I innately want to go in deep, but for me, I'd halted myself in so many levels. Not with you guys. I'm able to freaking go there with you guys. But how could I best really allow myself to go there and emanate my feelings, but still talk to the pain of my people where they are now? I'm very good at talking to the remedy. I haven't in the past been very good to talking to the pain. So I invite you to think about that. We as healers, as doers, as feelers, we want to fix, but our people won't allow for us to fix things until they look at what's paining them. And the only way they're going to look at what's paining them is if we freaking give them the words, if we tell them. They've got the pain there. They've got the insecurity and the worry and the anxiety all right there. They're feeling like a big ball of blah all the time. But when we pinpoint this is what you're feeling, this is what you're feeling, this is what you're feeling, they go, oh, yeah, it's giving it a name, giving it a thing that they can grasp a hold of and say, I don't want to feel this particular thing anymore. And so you're speaking to the pain and you're able to go there with the depth. A couple other things that I will note. With Thrive, this was the first time that an hour, each of the 3 lives that I did, an hour before I went live, I was in my office with my earbuds in, meditating and just doing what felt good, listening to binaural, how do you pronounce it? Binaural beats? Binaural, yeah. I was listening to whatever felt good. It was journaling out thoughts. You guys know I had workbooks in there. And so I was reviewing my notes, but not in a studious, I need to make sure to hit all these points, but rather in a way of like integrating them with myself. And those 3 lives are the best trainings I have ever, 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 ever done. And I know it was because I literally was in that space of complete surrender and giving and just going there with the feeling, but able to connect with them where they were. So there's all that part. And then if you'll notice, so my initial thought when I was trying to do it logically, when I was trying to like think about Thrive logically and how was I going to integrate Dream Quest, because Thrive was just, I was like so in service mode. So I wanted to make sure I integrated Dream Quest. And so I was like, well, maybe at the end of the 3rd one, I'll say, and if this is great for you, you should join Dream Quest. But that didn't feel good. That didn't make sense. I didn't want it to be some like, hidden thing behind the curtain. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted them to know that this is coming. And if you want it, it's going to be there for you. Take in what you want from this. This is the most important thing, but know that there is a next step to you. I think talking about it openly, but fluidly really, really enhanced the whole experience, because people felt comforted in, oh my gosh, like there is something next. And if I'm not ready for it yet, that's okay. But I also don't have to feel like I have to scramble and get through this, because once this ends, it ends. So it was kind of like they were able to breathe into it as I was able to just say, and I've got this cool thing that we're going to talk more deeply about the stuff that we're talking about now. I'm going to get for you guys the exact numbers. I'm going to calculate everything. Because a couple more people rolled in yesterday, including my best friend, Missy. She was like, okay, I'm doing this. And so I'm going to calculate and get all the numbers together for you guys. But in true transparency, we had 21 or 22 new people, because it was gifted to the mastermind. So 5 of you got it, like along with all that we do. So I think it's 21 or 22 new amazing souls. And if you look at that group, the caliber of soul human in there is so ready to freaking go. She knows what's going on. And even if she doesn't, she knows that we're going to like pop the balloon and help her to discover. And she's ready to create, because I was very mindful of how I wanted this to feel for people. Based on all of this with the, because some people chose the upfront, some people chose the payment plans, it was an over $8,000 launch. So there you go. And this is by far my lowest price point ever. And you guys know, like, I'm going to over deliver. I already have over deliver on the value of this, because I really feel so deeply connected to where these women are right now. And I know for certain that this is going to help them to rise in a way that they've never experienced before. So purposefully, I set it at a very, very, like, almost ridiculously low price point, but I knew that the value that the women would bring when they had the space to do this was going to be astronomical. So, and I'll post in the group once I kind of sit with everything, like the exact numbers of everything, but I share that with you guys, like, with knowing this is the final point. I gave myself specific times. I wrote all my emails in advance. I made most of my social media posts based off of my emails that I had already written because the content was already there. I allowed myself a little bit of grace with, if I was feeling something coming through, I would post about that on social media. It was excitement, it was joy, it was gratitude, and it was the most grounded I've ever felt in a launch before. And I honestly meditated more than I promoted. During the actual, like, you have to set up the structure. You have to have all right, on the final day, there's got to be 3 emails that go out. And on this day, I want to have this email going to this list and this email going to this list. Like, you need to have that so people understand what it is. They get the reminders. People need to be told over and over and over again. I had one person that joined on Sunday. She told me she was going to join on Tuesday. So she just needed the constant reminder. So I gave myself time to create that in advance. But during the actual launch of it, I meditated more than I promoted. I went to my best friend's son's birthday party. I had another Christmas with my family. And I'm not saying that this was all easy. I went through rocky moments within myself, but during those moments, instead of pushing through, I literally sat down and breathed. I share that with you guys because you guys can get that. You can grasp that. It may seem a little still out of reach. I don't know. But if you don't trust me with my experience with this, then what, right? Like, you guys know me, you know the depth of me, and you know my realness. And so me sharing this with you 2 years ago, I wouldn't have believed I would ever say the words, I meditated more than I promoted. But it worked. And it worked not because I worked it, but I believed in it and I trusted in it. So that was kind of a long state of the state, but you guys are all in it with me. And I wanted to give you my mastermind, the true behind the scenes of what was going on, to invite you into, what do you want to create? What do you want to create with grace and with meditation and with joy and with doing the stuff, but then allowing during the process? Yes? Good? Okay. Okay, who's got what? Who's got something? Who's going first? Amber, I know you've got a baby. Catherine, you've got a baby who's sleeping, I think. Brandy, you've got a 2-year-old. That's a whole other story.
A very demanding one at that.
Yes. Why don't you go?
Okay. So I feel like we haven't talked in a really long time.
I know Christmas and New Year's makes it, because it hasn't been that. It's been like 2 weeks, but like Christmas and New Year's, like actually maybe like 2.5, 3 at this point. But
it feels like so much has happened since the last time. My best friend came in. She was here for about almost 3 weeks, and my world kind of just stops whenever she is here. And we always have these great ideas of things that we're going to do, and then we never do anything, and we just sit and talk.
Yeah, that's
like the whole time. But it's like really good, like soul fulfilling kind of talks that I need to have. So that was really good. But when she left, I was just like, all weekend, I was just so depressed. And normally after the holidays, I get like that, just because I've spent so long looking forward to this thing and it's so magical. And then it leaves and I'm like, well, shit, what next? Mm-hmm. And this sucks. And so like all weekend and even kind of into yesterday, it was just like this huge energetic slump. Yeah. And I just wasn't feeling okay. I wasn't wanting to do anything, create anything, think about anything. But for once, I knew exactly why I was feeling that way. Yeah. So that was what I felt was like huge progress for me. So I'm grateful for all the work that I've done to be able to recognize when that feeling is coming over me, like what the source of it is. So I'm super grateful for that. What I need help with, I feel like everything. I do not like the way my website looks at all. I have WordPress as the host. I just no matter what I do, it doesn't look the way that I want it to look. I don't even know the way I want it to look. I know that it looks how I don't want it to look. So there's that. And I'm trying to figure out MailChimp right now because I'm actually getting subscribers. And so I saw your live the other day about like delivering content to your subscribers that's different than what you're posting on social media. And so I know I'm really scared to do that because I don't want people to miss content. And I'm like, well, I only have like 30 people on my subscribe list and I want everybody to get the content, but I also need to allow this incentive thing. So I'm going to go back and watch your video on that. One thing I am really, really excited about, and this kind of came to me over the last few weeks, that I shaved my head.
I know.
So I was feeling like there were a lot of barriers between me and source. That's like the best way I can explain it. I felt like I'm using this makeup to make myself look like a character. I'm doing my hair to make myself look like a character. And I'm trying to make myself be this person that I think everybody needs. And I just got sick of it. And so I woke up one day, looked at my husband and my best friend, and I said, I'm going to shave my head New Year's Day. And my husband was like, all right, okay. What's bringing this on? Because it's not weird for me to just say outlandish things. And so when I explained it to them, I said, I've been doing something to my hair since I was 4 years old, trying to change the natural state of my hair. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, I'm going to get emotional. I'm tired of like portraying this person that I'm not. I don't want to be a character. I want to be me. And this is the first thing I can think of to get back to a more authentic state. So I'm done using chemicals. I'm not going to say I'm never going to do anything again, but for this year, I don't want to use chemicals on my hair. I don't want to dye it. I don't want to curl it. I want to see what natural looks like and truly embrace that. And so when I explained that to him, he's like, I think you would really rock a bald, no makeup look. I'm excited to see it.
So awesome.
So when I did it, it was the most freeing thing I have ever done in my life. It was amazing. And ever since then, I've really enjoyed not having to think about it, not having to do anything with it.
Yeah.
I just felt like there were so many things getting in the way between the spiritual connection that I really want to feel. And I really, as silly as that sounds, I felt like my hair was one of the things.
It doesn't sound silly at all. Not to us.
So then that kind of kicked off this whole, well, what other areas in my life do I want to detox? Because I know I'm putting artificial ingredients in my food and chemicals on my body. And so what else can I do? And so I created this whole 52-week detox plan that like came to me in just a couple hours. And then I started writing all the things. And so I have my whole list already ready to go.
Yeah.
And so that was like, okay, that was a little easier than I thought it would be. So I'm excited about that. Right now, I'm struggling with belief. I did post that in the Dream Quest yesterday. As far as the coaching services that I want to provide, I'm kind of going backwards a little bit and like, ooh, I'm struggling with how do I create the content? I don't know how to create the content. I know how I want to help people. Well, not necessarily how, but I know that I do want to help women, but I don't know. I know what I want to do. I don't know how to get there.
Okay.
And so I feel like if I truly believe that was me and that's what I'm supposed to do, then I feel like it would be a lot easier than what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. First of all, your website. Can you outsource that?
Probably.
Okay. Just think about that. And to me, you went to the website first because you were like trying to say like, okay, what logistical thing? Like, what can I cover up all this other stuff? So like, let's just talk
Yeah.
about the website really quick. I do the same thing on all my calls with Amber. I'm like, let's talk about this, and then let's talk about this. So I would recommend talking to Nikki Ong about it and seeing
Okay.
what, if you just want someone else to do it and you're serious about wanting someone else to do it, just talk to her. Just have a conversation. Even if you're not sure yet, just talk to her. We're redoing my website right now because I don't want to do a damn thing on it. I like creating my own landing pages and my own stuff. I don't want to do the website stuff. So, and I actually think that my clients, so you all, my ideal people, they want to know how it works. They want to do the first part. They want to create and try their very best and pour their love into it. But throughout the process, they're discovering what they don't freaking want to do anymore. And I want to empower you, outsource it. If it is draining you, outsource it. Give it to other people that love doing that work. MailChimp. What just came through for me was, wouldn't it be cool if you created videos and you put videos into your email? So maybe you make a post, a very high level written version of your video for your post. So people are still getting tidbits of the content. You don't feel like you're leaving anybody out. But if they want the real, the raw, the good, and like you are so captivating when you speak, if they want that, they want on your email list. They want that 3 minute, that 5 minute video that's gonna like go there. That was just a thought that came through for me. Take it or leave it. But also celebrating every single new person that joins your list. Like legit looking at their name, breathing into them, and just sending gratitude to that name, because that's huge. And that's going to be really fun for you to connect with your email list on, because you know who you're talking to. So there's that. The underbelly of it all is the belief. So to me, you're freaking so on with your connection, with what you need to do, want to do, with source, with connection, with trust, with love. And it's almost like you're trying to muddy your own trail because you think it should be harder than it is. Right? Like we do that. I remember when I left the hospital and started doing Beachbody, like this is way back in the day, I didn't have the stress that the hospital provided me. So I figured out real quick how to create stress out of my current situation. Right? Even though I finally was doing the first iteration of what I wanted to do after the hospital, I needed to find stress because life didn't feel normal without it. So I encourage you, don't do anything right now. like literally don't do anything. Look at what you've created, look at what you've downloaded, and just be with it, breathe into it, witness it. You don't have to move on it. You're going to be called to move on the very first thing in the exact moment that you're meant to. And if we know you, and we do, it's going to be sooner rather than later. I think your fear is on the timeline of things, like, but I just want to get things done. I just want to go. Like, I've got all these ideas. Just part of belief is trust. So sit with your beautiful ideas. Sit with all that you've done to create that better connection with source. Invite it into your very being, and then you move on it.
Okay.
How does all that feel?
That's, you're spot on. And I love the idea of doing a video. So it's the same content, but it's different.
Same content, but it's different.
I love that. That sounds really good to me. And you're spot on with like creating stress. Like, I'm so good at that. Why?
Well, we all are, right? Like that. We're really, really freaking good at that. Yeah. Catherine's like, yep. Like if it's not there, we feel like it should be. What if all right, here's a journaling prompt for you. And this is so good because this goes with all that you've uncovered with stillness. How does living stress-free feel to me? On the surface, you're going to be like, fucking awesome. But then you're going to be like, wait, I've only functioned in that place. I have to rewire a lot. So I want you to get into that current. And I will say this, just to kind of wrap it all up, because we're thinking of growth, because we're not just thinking about right this moment, we're thinking about future as well. Creating that video, with me and content, I try to think about how can I create one thing that can be broken into a bunch of different pieces. And down the road, you'll be able to invest in a VA that you can make the video, and then the VA can pull out snippets and quotes directly from you and create the posts for you. So you don't even have to do that. You can continue with other receiving content creation. That's not right now, but I want you to know that that's available in the future. Like, that's coming.
Okay.
And Brandy, what if you are learning right now in your 52 weeks what you're supposed to be teaching? Like, don't put the cart in front of the horse. Like, this is such a powerful thing that you're doing, like, that not everybody does for themselves first. Like, a lot of times it's backwards. Like, a lot of people are doing the things but then have to get into alignment. Like, you are just literally bearing it down to straight connection with source. Like, and you're like, what about content? Like, lean into your process, because a lot of the things that you're going to be finding out, I think, are going to be what you're going to want to share content wise with people. And Caitlin and I were actually on a call together talking about the same thing, content creation. And we're talking about, because being a teacher, like, a lot of my curriculum is not stuff that I'm just coming up with on my own. It's things that I've read from books and other people. So why, if we are still coaching, why are we not looking at it as teaching and being like, oh, I could use, like, Gary Zukav for me, as a huge spiritual mentor in the books that I've read. Some of my material, I just am sourcing him on it, but I'm teaching it in my way. So, like, it's not like you have to take shit out of thin air. Like, if you were reading a self-development book and you liked what they were doing, like Gabby Bernstein or Louise Hay, like, you can use other people's stuff. Like, we can teach what they're teaching. Like it's not like, it's just let yourself off the hook there. Like, you're not a magician.
And
you don't have to be.
Sure you source. Just make sure you say who you got it from and teach it your way.
Right.
And I will say this too, Brandy, like, just to go off that, we have been programmed within network marketing to coach as we go. And, like, literally, like, I learned something, going to teach it right away. I learned something, going to teach it right away. You don't have to. You get to marinate in it. You get to actually let it develop, because you want now for it to go deeper than just the surface level. And because you guys know, like, we get that first lesson, and then underneath it, there's always a deeper lesson. But oftentimes, if we're too busy trying to coach as we're going through it, we don't get to the deeper lesson. We share that valuable talk lesson, but we don't let ourselves feel into the underbelly.
I really, really agree with you on that, because I'm noticing right now, like with my Facebook, I haven't been as active lately. It's because I'm trying to marinate on all this stuff, right? And at first it felt like really weird. Like, it's kind of like what you're saying, Brandy, is like, I'm not used to this. Like, I'm supposed to be like blah, 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 constantly, you know what I mean? And it's kind of weird that I've had to, like, put my own boundary in front of myself, and regardless of what everybody else was thinking on the other side, and frankly, half the time they're not even thinking about you anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's like, this just doesn't feel, I don't have to post it just to post it. You know what I mean? So, but what I would say to you is what Jillian always says to me is, give yourself grace, because what you're doing is you're exactly what Amber's saying, is you're kind of doing it, I feel, the right way, and the less stressful way is get into alignment and then go from inspired action. Because when you get into alignment, then the inspiration comes and the next logical step will appear, instead of kind of going through it all stressed out and everything, and then trying to figure out, okay, then what? You know, and I think we're all kind of in the same boat on that. So just trust the process, you know?
Thank you all. So helpful.
Good. Keep us posted on what allowing feels like. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And talk to Nikki. She's a genius. All right. Catherine, Amber, who needs to go next? Who's got a babe that's like, Mom, you got to get off the call soon?
I can go before she wakes up again because she's not sleeping very long, if that's okay with you, Amber. Okay. Whew. First of all, I'm going to share what I'm grateful for, because that's what we usually start with, is I am grateful for a new year, because I feel like it just gives people a fresh start. And what I'm noticing right now is, I've always kind of been in this place where, oh yeah, I've got all these resolutions I want to do, and I've put all these kind of expectations of myself, and what I've noticed this year is I'm just letting that go. And I don't want to put resolutions out. I want to set goals, and I have a vision, and I want to work towards that, but I don't want to put a resolution out and then shut myself down if I don't achieve that. So I feel like 2019 is coming with a very, very, very different energy. And I'm really grateful for that, because over the last couple of years, all the experiences I've been through have been leading me up to this point.
Right.
And I feel like now things are going to start to flow in. So I'm really grateful for that. And I do want to just, point out what Brandy was saying about, I had a very busy holiday season. I had 3 out of 4 of my brothers here, from all over. My brother and his wife live in Dubai, and lots of family in town. And my house was kind of all, filled with people, and it was amazing. We had an awesome Christmas, and then it was all gone. And it was kind of really weird. Even my husband, who likes his quiet, said to me, oh my God, the house feels so empty. And it was just, I feel like I'm just readjusting to that. And it's taking me a couple weeks to just kind of get back into the flow. In a way, I'm super excited for 2019, getting into the work and doing everything I want to do and all that. But in another way, it's kind of a little freaky for me. I'm a little bit scared, because I was kind of in that really good feeling place. I was enjoying family. I just took a step back. I'd let go of things, and I was just enjoying the moment. So I think it's just reshifting into that mode has been a little bit challenging for me, but I feel like I'm getting there slowly but surely. So I actually had a really good conversation with my husband the other day. I was sitting on the couch, not in front of him, like he told me. But all of a sudden, we started talking about money and our plans and our goals. And it was weird, because he was in a very different headspace. He's just like he had this flow going, and my husband is typically like that. So we had a 2.5 hour long conversation, and it was just so effortless. It was just I just feel like I knew what the intention was, and I was nervous about bringing up that conversation, because, he's always on the defensive side, and it just kind of happened. It wasn't anything that was planned. And we just talked about what our goals are for the year, and how we look at money right now, and what our relationship is with money, and what our expectations are. And it's funny, because he doesn't set goals for himself, or he doesn't think he does, but then everything he was telling me is he's kind of doing that. You know what I mean? He kind of set his goal. And, it's so funny. We're talking about, he's, trying to get a better job and stuff like that. But he said to me, he says, you know what, babe? He says, I really think that, I have lack of self-esteem, I think, because I'm overweight. And I'm like, you're 38 years. I've been with you for 16 years. You have never admitted that in 16 years we've been together. And that now finally everything that I've known for him, he's kind of seeing it for himself. But I feel like it's releasing so much pressure off my shoulders. I feel like this week, I've been bottling so much in that I wanted to talk to him about. And all of a sudden, I think just because I've set the intention, all of a sudden, all this conversation that happened just took a huge load off my shoulders. It's not kind of like that creepy little Devlin thing that I need to just, talk about, that's just been sitting here. You got to talk about it, but now it's not the right time, or so that's been a big relief off my shoulders. Because now I feel like he has my back. He knows, I'm not going back to my full-time job. I'm trying to get my business to the next level, and not just in Arbonne specifically only, but also starting to look into my cooking show and all of that. So there's a lot of things flowing, and it's going to require money, clearly, right? Some sort of, financial thing. But I feel like he's stressed out, but he's not stressing as much, and he's not in the blaming mode anymore as much as he used to be. Because I feel now, and it's funny because this just hit me today, Jillian, is I'm feeling like I'm tapping into my divine feminine, and I'm allowing him to tap into his divine masculine. Because right now he's telling me, okay, I need a few hours. I need to focus. I need to get a better job, because he realized that he's got to take care of his family. I can't keep doing that on my own. Yeah. He needs to step up into his thing so that I can step into what I need to do. Because my divine feminine is craving me time and craving this this place of quietness so that I can be in that receiving mode, which I'm struggling a little bit with right now. A lot of times I feel like during the day with Jade, because she's not sleeping as much, longer periods, I feel like I need to sit down for a half hour and have this complete quiet and try to get into those deep meditations. And I'm really struggling with that. So it's definitely, I want to work with you on that, because right now I know that that's what I need to do to fix all my problems. Like literally, I know that. So I just want to get to a point where I find a system that works for me with my new reality of what's going on. But I just want to say, like, the last couple of days have been like big aha moments, great conversations with my husband, that I feel I'm tapping more into my divine feminine, and I'm letting go of those, chains of, oh no, I need to take care of this because clearly he's not getting it and I need to step up. And I just said, you know what? Let him figure it out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's stepping into his masculine, realizing that I need to take care of my family, so that I can allow my wife to have her space to do her thing and build her business. So I'm feeling like there is this nice dialogue going on now, and I feel so much better with that. So that's kind of one side. So another side is, what I need a little bit of help with is time management. So partly Amber will relate to this, exhaustion. Like literally, I'm so exhausted today. I didn't sleep very well, but that's okay. Whatever, it happens. But it's like, okay, during the day, if I'm not home, like I'm on the road driving a lot. So it's like hard to get things done that I need to sit down and focus on. But sometimes being out helps Jade sleep longer. But when I'm home, and I love this time in my house, I love these few hours in my house where it's quiet, Zelda's at school, my husband's at work, and I get to sit here and work or do whatever it is I need to do. But I find myself like, I kind of know what I need to do, but not 100% like step by step. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I don't know. And then I feel like I'm wasting a lot of time in between because I'm thinking about it more than I'm actually doing it. So I think that's where if I can get into a good time management, routine, then I feel like I'm not wasting time. And I feel like I can literally, because my Arbonne business does not require 40 hours of constant work, right? Not at this point in my business, because I have residual income that comes in. Yep. Now I need to take my personal side of the business and up that big time, because that's what's going to take me to that next level. Yeah. I've got that residual income that's coming in. That's great. So if I don't work Arbonne at all, I'm still getting something decent. You know what I mean? But I feel like, and it's not like I feel like I have to do it. I want to do it. I want to be able to spread the word and share and all of that. But I feel like I'm wasting a lot of time in between. So I don't know if you guys saw, I did share very briefly on Facebook that May 31st is my 35th birthday. Mm-hmm. And so I decided that from now until then, I want to get into the best shape of my life, because 35 was a big number for me. When I was 14, my aunt's lawyer retired at 35. Mm-hmm. And when she told me that, I had this vision of myself that I'm going to retire by the age of 35. Mm-hmm. And retire doesn't mean I'm not going to work. It just means financially I'm like set and I don't have to worry. And I'm just in a really good place. And so I'm giving myself this goal because I just feel like now that I know I'm done with babies, I just want to kind of take care of me. And so yesterday was day one for me, and I'm just feeling good. And I'm not looking at it like a chore. I'm looking at it like a fun experience to go through and share with people. So I'm taking care of myself physically in that sense. And now I just need to kind of shift into, okay, let's get the meditation down a little bit better, you know, be able to go deeper, because I'm craving a lot of that, kind of what Brandy said. I'm craving that deep connection, and staying there, staying in that connection with source through everything that's going on in my life. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that makes sense. I know I've just like been saying a lot of stuff, but
that's okay. So what I'm feeling is just breathe. Like, be in this moment where you're having this clarity with your husband. Be there. Be fully there. Like, celebrate this moment. Also, you can do all the things, just not all exactly at the same time, right? Like what I told Amber the other day. So in one breath, you're like, I want to be quiet and still, and I want to be connected with source, but I also want to get in the best shape of my life. So allow for these things that seem to be on opposite ends of the spectrum to like jump into the same pool together. Right? Like, they don't have to be completely discombobulated. They don't have to be, okay, now I want to get into these deep meditations, and now I want to eat this food, and now I want to exercise this way. What if you looked at your whole day, your whole life as one big pool, and all of it was like in there swimming together? To enhance that, I loved how you shared that, you know, some days being in the car is better for Jade, but you don't get that time. What I am just feeling into right now is you get to create celebration wherever you are. So on the days where you're in the car and you're feeling like, I wish I was at home, how can you focus on celebrating being in the car? On days that you're at home and you get to do the meditation, how can you focus on celebrating that? And also not putting pressure on needing to get into that deep vortex of a space meditation. Because you've said this a couple times where you're like, I just want to have that like totally blissed out state. And like, yeah, like that's the ideal of meditation. But even like the 5 minute, like, I cannot quiet my mind, but you know, it's providing you all that. It's exactly what it's meant to be. So taking the pressure off of like,
the
I'm not
expectation.
getting all I want out of this if you don't get into that total state where you come out of it and you're like, where have I been for a half hour? Those times will come, but they're just as important as the smaller times throughout. So for me, for you right now, it's how can you allow the collaboration of all that you want to do just rise as one? Does that make sense? Like, and you and I have talked about, like, you are not short for ideas. You are not short for things that you're meant to do in this world. Like, we know that. But how can we allow for you to take one step at a time, celebrate no matter where you are? And this is the final point. Literally listening to yourself and doing what you feel called to in the moment. Some days you're going to be exhausted. If you're feeling called to nap. Like, what if you committed to yourself for a whole week to do exactly what you felt called to do in that moment? Even though you might battle it and think that this doesn't make sense. Like,
which I did this morning, by the way.
I did, right?
I put
like,
my head down next to Jade, and I was like, okay, I'll put her to sleep and get up and work. And I'm like, I'm just too tired.
Good.
And it wasn't very long, but it was just what I needed to be able to then go on and do what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm in a good space where all the projects that I want to work on, they're all interrelated. And I love that. I don't feel a disconnect between what I want to do and what I am doing. And like, I love that I'm in a space and I found something that I love doing, but everything else that I've wanted to do stems all from that same, it's all part of the same circle. And I feel good in that. And it's kind of like what you're saying is, you know, I can't do it all the same day. You know what I mean? It's just, so I think partly is, for example, I'll give you an example. And that's what I've been struggling a little bit with this week is I have so many calls I want to catch up on. And I'm trying to take the stress out of that and say, it's okay if I don't listen to every single one, but it's like between this one, it's like, just I'm doing Liza's call this morning, the one that you mentioned to me, And I'm probably only like a third way in after like 2 hours because Miss Jade here has been like getting up and doing. But I had to say to myself, like, sorry, but what the fuck? Like, stop, complaining about not finishing the call and just give yourself grace that you've taken step one. You're listening to some of it and you just have to go with the flow. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. I just feel like again, this tug of war is I'm doing the do, but then you're not doing enough. It's, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like, oh, well, if you don't finish all the calls, then you're behind, you're missing out on this. And it's not really true. So
just remember that you're in a lot of different groups in a lot of different spaces, and you're not meant to, you're literally meant to take in what you feel called to take in. You don't have to take in it all. You're not meant to take it all in. It's not meant all for you right this second. And it's always available for you, right? Like nothing is ever lost. Nothing is ever missed out on. So give yourself the grace of saying, I'm going to do this now and put the other things through a filter. Do I need to do that? I also would say, and just to wrap up, just so we can give Amber her time too.
Yeah.
But write a list, Catherine, of all the groups that you feel really connected to showing up in, just so you're not spinning your wheels of, all right, where do I need to check into today? What do I need to do? Who's doing what? Because that's taking time. Like you get that sacred sit down time and you spend the first half of it thinking, okay, what groups do I have to check in? And like, these things, so you don't think you need the list. But for me, like I have a list that I'm like, okay, right now it's check into Dream Quest, the Mastermind, and the Academy. I have other groups that I'm a part of, and so I put them there to keep them top of mind, but I know my priorities. And so but having them there makes it brainless. I can look at it. Okay, boom, I'm in that group. Look at it. Boom, I'm in that group. So make the quick list for yourself, because I'm sure you have groups in Arbonne too that you're like, I really do want to add value there or answer questions in there. So make a quick list. And then also you don't have to be in all the places.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yay. So excited for you. This is so good. Cornwall.
Yeah. So, Catherine, I just love hearing you talk about you and your husband, because where me and Jeremy are is just at a very, very similar place. And hearing you say that, like that little devil on your shoulder of having to talk about the thing or that thing, and it is heavy sometimes, and you're trying to make it all fit perfectly to be able to have that conversation the way you want to. I can totally empathize with that. And yesterday, I found myself, because I had done this thing where I had just totally backed off from Jeremy and well, I'll let you figure it out. But then he didn't feel like I was supporting him in it. And so it was just this, for me, it's been this evolution of, he looked at me and said, you've let me float and you haven't called me on my shit. And for me, it was well, I don't feel like I should have to. But it's also but if he's telling me that that's a need that he has, then okay.
It's, you guys, it's just learning how to literally honor your divine feminine. And part of that is making them do it, because they're not going to do it if you do it. But when they're at the point that they're doing it and then they're asking for help specifically with what they need, then you get to, as the divine feminine, provide that safe space. Divine masculine wants to go out, do his work, have his plan, do his work, and then come home and feel safe to rest. That's the part that we forget about as the women, because we have been given ourselves a badge of honor for centuries now that we don't rest. We complain that that's our biggest thing, but we also pride ourselves on that, right? So, but they need to rest, and it's in our safety. It's in our creative swirl. Think of it as just the most comfortable cloud ever. They want to rest in that. So if they're specifically asking for things so that they can, that's where we get to provide them that safety net. But they have to freaking show up and do their work, and we have to stop doing it all for them so that they can. So what have we practiced most, right? What we've practiced most trains them to do what they've practiced most. It's huge. Awesome, Amber. Thank you. That was amazing.
Yeah. As far as work stuff goes, I'm feeling I finally feel like I have a container and a timeline to do all of the things that I want to do. Like the next 6 months, I feel like I've chunked out a really good plan. And it's interesting because it goes from feeling like, oh, well, I've spaced it out well for myself, but at the same time, it's like, oh my God, but there's so much to do. But I really don't think there is once I break it down. And that's kind of where I'm at. Is this week I've gotten on the phone with Caitlin. We've had like a Monday call the past few weeks to just figure out a timeline for what we want to do. And so we decided that we're going to do a joint webinar.
Cool.
And so I'm going to be speaking to basically the beginning part of the awakening process of like feeling anxious, depressed. Who am I? Why am I here? Basically the big three questions. Why am I here? What's the point? What am I meant to do? And kind of the symptoms that go with that. Because Jill, I heard you say like, we are in such fix-it mode. And I realized that I'm kind of the opposite. I can talk to a lot of the like, yeah, but you're going to be feeling depressed, anxious, like you don't know who you are. Like I'm very comfortable sitting in that because that was such a poignant piece for me in my transformation.
Totally.
So I'm going to be speaking on that. And then Caitlin's going to come in like with the toolbox in the second half of the webinar and like talk about like meditation and self-care and gratitude and abundance and just kind of like, here's the basic toolkit. Like you're not going to know how to use it because you could either be ready for the toolkit and that's why you're here, or maybe you're just in the beginning and you're looking for somebody to identify what you're going through.
Yeah.
And so having done my webinar last year is so weird. It's like I feel like I'm going back and redoing. I feel like I have a second chance, I guess, at what I started last year, and just really like before it was like I felt like I was taking things one step at a time, and it was just very like just focus on what's ahead. And now it's like because I've done that, I'm able to create a bigger container for myself for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
And then allow myself to flow through that.
Yeah.
Which it feels really good because it's like I feel like I can see a little bit farther down the path.
Yeah.
Because I have the tools now, but I can kind of flow within it. So that's going to be the webinar. And then in February, and the goal for the webinar for me is to hopefully, number one, get some people on my astrological counseling service, because those are going to be my ideal clients. That can lead into my one-to-one services or my empath groups that I'm going to be doing. So basically more touches for my email.
Are you and Caitlin going to be doing 2 different calls to action with this webinar?
We're going to be doing a giveaway.
Okay.
So it's going to be a share basically on Instagram or Facebook where you get 30 minutes on a call with her. You get 30 minutes of going over your birth chart with me.
Awesome. Good.
So if you follow both of us, share the webinar, and tag a friend, then you're entered into the giveaway.
Cool.
And I think that'll kind of build up our following, get people on our list.
Yep.
As well as the person who wins, like, gets an extra touch with us.
Yeah. I love that. I wanted you to make a call to action that was together, and not because if you confuse, you lose. So if both of you were coming at it like, if you want to sign up with Amber, do this. If you want to sign up with Caitlin, do this. And they would do neither, because they would be like, oh my gosh, which one's the right one? Or I don't know, I want both. And like, but I don't feel worthy enough to have both. So I think whatever you do, like doing it together like that is going to be super powerful. So at the end of the webinar, if you guys do like, you want people on your astrological panel, what does Caitlin want? How do they get both? How can you do it? So when you say, and this is just my take, again, take it or leave it, but how can they get both of you? How can you both create something so that when they only have to say yes once, but they get both of you? Because if you're doing it together,
excellent question,
then making them make the decision which one they'd rather work with that puts all sorts of like funky, well, I don't want this person to feel like I don't want to work with her, but I really want this. And like, I don't know. So like, how can you amp up? Like you almost get like a 2-for-1 deal. Like how can you both get in there with them?
I like that. So it's
Play
almost like
around
an
with that with
offering. Yeah, I'll definitely think about that. And the other question we had was creating a landing page
Mhm.
because we're both going to be doing it and getting both emails. Like you could have 2 check boxes, like, I'm subscribing to both emails, but then people have to be like, oh, I have to check 2 boxes and join 2 email lists. Like that was the other question we had.
I think I will double check this for you. I will actually do it right now. I'm going to set myself up. So, circle. I will post a question in my inner circle because there are people that are very, very, very good at email lists in there, and they'll know if there are any specific rules. I think if this is a joint thing, then they can sign up for that list, but then understand that both of you get the email address. I think that, but let me just double check and I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, because we were each going to kind of create a landing page in our own words and just promote it through our website, and then the emails that we get just kind of share, like here are the emails that I got, here are the emails that you got, and add them.
Yeah, or do you just create one landing page and put you both on it?
Right, because what would be a third if we only did it through MailChimp? Because I think Caitlin's concerned that if I create the landing page, they're going to be going to my page, so they're not going to look at her stuff.
Yeah.
On her website.
No, that's a good point. So I think you can literally create a single landing page.
Because I think you can just do it through MailChimp, just create the landing page as kind of third party without the website.
Yeah, you can. You guys just have to figure out which it's housed in, and then both have access to the list.
Right. Okay.
Let me ask these questions for you in my mastermind just to make sure, because like I said, there are very email specific, knowledgeable people in there that I just want to make sure that we're just doing everything right, integrity wise and legally.
Exactly. No, and that's why I was like, just super. That's why I said, oh, like perfect. We have our call today because it's just seamless.
No, it's perfect.
So yeah, so it's kind of be like, this is we're gonna do that January 31st, and then I'm hoping to maybe, for me, do like an empath workshop and then lead into an empath group. February vacation, because I feel like a lot of people going through their awakening are empaths and need that information too. Some of those could be my one-to-one clients, and then maybe in April or June, maybe or April and June, then do a light worker mastermind from the empath stuff, my astrological services that I'm offering, and any of my one-to-one clients, maybe do literally just a light worker mastermind of,
yeah. The other thing too is don't be tied. Don't be so tied. Yes, logically, it makes sense that this is where people will coming from, but don't be so tied that you shut off connection between all other humans in the entire world, right? Like your mastermind could be made up of people that have just been watching you. They don't want anything else that you're going to offer, or it's not going to be the right time. But the second you're like, I'm doing a mastermind, they're like, I'm in. So have the intention that it's going to be a really fun and exciting and expansive process that will build upon each other, but also you're open and willing to receive.
I have a comment about that.
Yeah. Yep.
I think I'm getting, I see the collaboration. I just don't know, Jillian, what your take on this is. Is it more effective to have her be the main person and have Caitlin as a guest and vice versa for each other?
I think there's a time and space for both. I think that if this feels super in alignment for you guys, like this is your thing together, awesome. If it's kind of feeling like you can help me amplify my words, but I want to own my own thing, then do that. That's what I do with a lot of like the ladies that come into the academy and anyone that comes in and like speaks on my stuff. Like it's not a collaboration, it's an amplification. And we know that it's stuff is for me, and then I do stuff for them too.
Because I'll give you an example. Like if let's say you and Amber, not this Amber, your own Amber, did a thing together, it would be very confusing for people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Unless we said like, this is our thing. And kind of like if it was going to lead into something that we did together. That's why I asked Amber, like, what are you guys going to do? What's the call to action? Because if you both think you're going to do something together, but you're going to draw people in two different directions, that's going to be confusing for people.
Yeah.
So if this collaborative webinar leads into something either collaborative or that they get you both, that makes sense. But if you're trying to like say, we're doing this together, but then we're splitting it, that's going to feel really disconnected for people.
I agree.
So, amazing ideas. And you guys are natural fits for each other. I think it's just figuring out, do we want this to be partnership, or do we want this to be like that exchange with each other, that we help amplify each other's own thing?
Yeah, no, it's a good thinking point as well, because it felt very collaborative.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, like having people choose or like where to go from here, like you're serving me, but now you're dropping me kind of thing, because I have to choose. So.
And it's kind of like what was the point of doing this together if I have to choose between both of you? Like from the person's perspective, from the client's perspective.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we will definitely think about that, and then see if we can have either like a collaborative offering after that, like something after that. Yeah.
Or one of you does a webinar on X, one of you does a webinar on Y, and the other person is the guest. Right? Like
that too.
Or the guest expert on. So you could do your and you don't have to tell people that and if you chose that route, you don't have to tell people that it was born together, but you decided to split it separately. And you don't even have to say, if you watch Amber's webinar, then you're gonna want to watch Caitlin's webinar. Like, you don't have to do that. It's just honing in on the tools you are master at, that you are expert at, understanding that your people want those tools.
I think if it comes from that perspective, it will actually give you more value versus just collaborating, because then she's pointing light on you being an expert and vice versa. I think for me, looking as an outsider, I'm like, okay, she's the expert at this, I'm going to listen in, instead of, two people coming together to do something. I feel it gets wishy-washy in the middle somewhere. But I feel if you guys introduce each other as expert at certain things, and they know that difference between both of you, and there's no confusion there. And that's just me from an outsider.
Solid to lead into with you guys at the end.
Together. Yeah.
We are here working in partnership. We are collaborating on this. She's an expert in this. She's an expert in this. And at the end, we're going to combine that for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's when we were talking about it, we were having a little bit of trouble. Like, Caitlin's like, well, what are you starting with? Because I want to make sure it's seamless with what I'm doing, and like what I feel comfortable talking about with what you feel comfortable talking about. Because we've had very similar experiences, I would say. But at the same time, it feels like our coaching services are different.
Totally. I mean, you guys definitely enhance each other, and you guys speak a lot of the same language. You just come at it from different angles. You've had different experiences with it, and you truly are both passionate about different things within the realm. So it makes sense to work together. It's just, how can you best work together that's going to help the client at the end, that's going to help your people the most. Your people look at you and they want to be their version of you. Now, they just don't know how to get there. So how do you best help guide them? Is that working in tandem, Or is that saying, I'm going to give you these people, these tools, these thoughts, but my number one is like me. I just think of like True You Live too, because so it was my event and I had different speakers and they talked about very specific things to help guide along the journey. Like there was a congruence there, but they all came with their own package, their own message, their own delivery style. And we pivoted even in the event to best meet the needs of the actual energy of the room. If I had said, okay, you three people just come and talk about whatever you want, it wouldn't have flowed. But also, we weren't trying to like say, she's going to do this, so I'm going to do this, and I have to do this perfectly. Like there were so many times where like one of them was like, well, what are you going to do? Because I want to make sure that I'm starting with this. And the other one's like, well, I'd rather see what you're going to do so that I can like dovetail off of that. And so it's like, where can you tap into your own truth, your own energy? And allow Caitlin to do the same, because the client is going to get the most when you guys are like super solid in you and your offering at the end. So delivering the content that's needed, Thrive. Like they got freaking amazing content in Thrive, but also there was opportunity for them. It was a clear direction of, if you want to continue, this is where you're going next. And this is what you'll get out of it.
Yeah,
so
I think
you
definitely.
guys are like spot on. It's just a little bit more finessing and a little bit more like, what's the point? What is the point of this? Is it to grow email lists? Is it to get one person, this type of client, one person, this type of client? Is it to work together on something in the future? Like, what's the point? And then work backwards.
Right. Yeah, because I put goal, get one-to-one clients, get people to empath workshop and astrological counseling.
So awesome. But one-to-one clients out of a collaborative effort doesn't seem to fit.
Right.
Because you're saying choose. It's like two coaches being like, okay, which one of us do you want to work with one-to-one? Right? Like that's not fair. That's setting your people up for disaster, right? If me and Amber Lillystrom did a thing, it's like, okay, which one of us do you pick? It's like, okay, who's the more popular one? Who's the, like, it's almost like that the human of the client is going to go up into like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but like, I like her better, like,
right.
I want to sit with that lunch.
Good call.
Want to sit without lunch.
No, that makes sense. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think it'll just be, because obviously, us, we're just like super excited about it and like trying to make it streamlined, but at the same time, like,
yeah,
I appreciate that. It'll be good. So I like that guest expert too. Yeah,
just talk about it. And you and Caitlin have a really beautiful relationship where you're able to be super open and honest. Like, don't dull that to try to like
make it fit.
Like tiptoe around each other's feelings. Like just get right to it. This is a business. You guys happen to be very deeply connected. Awesome. How can we best amplify what each other is meant to do?
So true. Thank you both for that.
Yeah, so good. So good. Oh, goosebumps. All right, ladies. Well done. Well done. This was amazing. I have a bunch of calls next week. Some of you have frog in my throat. Some of you have calls, so vox me if you need me. Continue to work through what you created here today. And then let's utilize the group and support each other and enhance and amplify. Dream Quest, sir, get in there as much as you can because it's going to be really, really awesome.
Can you do me a favor? Could you tag me on the calls for the mastermind? Yeah. Like the list that I just can't seem to, sometimes on Facebook, you can't find them again.
They're in the files section. You have to go.
Oh, in the files. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Because I was searching and it wasn't coming up.
Yeah, it's not a document like in the news feed.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, my loves. Have a happy rest of your Tuesday. So proud of you. Amazing, amazing work. And I'll keep you posted on all things Dream Quest so you can see kind of like the process behind the scenes. I think it's really powerful for you guys to see and witness and like get to experience. And we'll go from there.
Yay. Thank you so much.
All right. Love you guys.
Bye. Love you too. Bye.